In today's video, I'm going to show you what I believe is the #1 strategy to flip houses in today's market. And once I show you this strategy, I'm then going to take you through a case study of a house I just closed on and was able to make $80,000 using the exact strategy that you're going to learn in this video today. My name's Jesse Stolz. I'm an active house flipper and real estate investor. So traditionally, when flipping houses, a lot of the stuff that you see on TV, people are doing what I refer to as the full go. So a full go is a lot like it sounds. We're touching every surface on the house. Usually that's a lot of exterior work. It's roof, it's windows, it's siding. On the interior, we're doing kitchens, we're doing bathrooms, we're doing the basic stuff like flooring, paint, doors, trim, things like that. But a full go is basically, it's just a top to bottom. We're touching every surface when renovating the house. And that's what I believe is more of the traditional way when it comes to flipping houses. This naturally comes along with things like high renovation budgets. It comes along with longer timelines. With high renovation, obviously more work is done. This in turn, it takes longer to get the work completed, right? Makes sense? But with all that, you're usually also you're aiming for top of market pricing for that neighborhood. So there is some upside to that. So again, traditionally, full go or top to bottom, we're doing their higher renovation costs because we're touching every surface. There's a longer timeline required for that, meaning holding time. Instead of being in and out of a property in 4 months, this might take you 6, 7, 8 months to do the renovation, then get the property listed and sold on the market. But with that longer timeline and the higher investment, you're also hopefully going to receive a top of market sales price. Now the difference in what I'm talking about today in this video and my favorite strategy, it's basically the polar opposite of this. Now this strategy is something that I just call the fluff and buff. Fluff and buff. It's kind of a lot like it sounds. We're going in, we're fluffing some things up, and we're doing a quick buff on the property, and we're getting that thing sold as quickly as possible. So this strategy usually comes along with basically the opposite of what the full go is. So instead of a high reno, we're doing a lower renovation budget, low reno costs. Instead of a long timeline, we're dealing with a much shorter timeline. Ideally, we can get the work done in 30 days or less. So short timeline. And instead of a top of market price, what we're trying to do is be an affordable option in that specific neighborhood. Affordable is the key word here. There's a few reasons why I like this strategy and why I think is a great option in the current market that we're in. One of them is the affordability factor, like I mentioned. In the high interest rate environment that we're in, obviously affordability is down. People can afford less due to the higher interest rates. So it only makes sense to me to service that need and provide a more affordable option, thus giving us more interested buyers in the product that we put on the market. Our renovation costs and our construction costs, the cost of contractors, labor, materials has significantly increased over the past handful of years, doubling in some cases. So we're not able to get as much done for the dollar amount that we once were. If we can come in, keep our renovation costs low, and then also just provide that affordable need, personally, I think it's a win-win. In addition to that, if you're a newer investor or flipper and you don't have a Rolodex of contractors to do a full go and touch every surface, this is a much easier option for you because you're only dealing with a few different trades. A lot of times you're dealing with carpet or flooring, if you will. You're dealing with paint, and maybe you do have a bigger item like a roof or windows or something like that, but you're usually avoiding kitchens, baths, the larger items. You're not dealing with all the finish work of trim, doors, all that stuff. I think it's an absolutely phenomenal option, not only for the newer investor, but also for the seasoned guys who just want to mitigate their risk in the current market. All right, so let's get into the example of the property that I told you about that I just closed, was able to make 80 grand using this exact strategy. Let's break it down. This house was a late 70s build. I think it was a 1978 build. It was a 3-bed, 2-bath house. It was like 1,350 square feet. And one of my favorite things about it was a single-story ranch. Anytime you can pick up a single-story ranch flip, I think they're a no-brainer product. There's very little that can go wrong with that style of build, and that era included. So Single story ranch. I went up against multiple different investor groups to win this property or win the bid on this property. The purchase price ended up being $340,000. I truly believe the reason that I won the bid is because I looked at it differently than all the other investors. All the other investors were penciling this out and looking at it through the lens of a full go, touching every surface. And I was looking at it through the lens of a fluff and buff and providing that affordable option for that specific neighborhood. So let's break down each strategy and compare how the numbers stacked up. Purchase price was $340,000. The ARV, or the end sales price, the after repair value, it's called, basically what the house is worth once it's fixed up. So here's the full go numbers. Let's go into that. Full go numbers. ARV was $500,000. Maybe you get lucky and get 5.25, but I like to run my numbers conservatively. So $500,000. Repairs were $80,000. Obviously, these are ballpark numbers. So we can't forget to include the cost of money and real estate commissions and closing costs. So most people are using some sort of fix and flip loan or hard money, and those right now, I mean, I'd say they average, 10 to 12%. We'll use 12% for this example just for easy math. But if we take the money cost, or we'll just call it money, on a fix and flip loan, you'd usually put something down. On this 340, maybe you put down $40,000 and then you're left with a loan balance of $300,000. Again, we'll use this for easy math. A loan balance of $300,000 at 12% annualized, that puts you at a 1% a month in holding costs, basically. $300,000 is the loan balance, 1% of that is $3,000 a month you'd be paying in interest. So $3,000 a month times roughly 6 months is $18,000. 18K. Then in addition to that, we're gonna pay real estate commissions, closing costs, and most likely some sort of seller concessions when you sell. That's usually, there's something there. If you're getting a deal with your realtor and they're doing, 4 to 5% in selling costs, and then you're paying 1 to 2% in seller concessions, we'll just take 6% for this example. So, and we'll just call it fees. That 6% would obviously be on your $500,000 resale price. 6 times 5 is 30, so it's $30,000 in selling costs and fees. Let's add these numbers up and see what our estimated profit would have been at the end of the day. And again, these numbers may be conservative, but that's how I run my numbers. Just start at 500,000 and start subtracting all of these. So 500,000 less 80 puts you at 420, less, we'll just jump to 30 because that's easier. So 420 less 30 puts you at 390, less 18, 390 less 18, it'd be 372. So 372K, and then we just have to consider our purchase price of 340. So what is that? That's a $32,000 profit. Not terrible, decent amount of risk given the amount of money you have to outlay. We do deals like that all the time, but now I'm gonna take you through how I looked at this deal. You'll soon see why my option is a much more attractive option than this right here. All right, so let's get into it. So the last one was the full go on the other side of the board. Now we're gonna go into the F&B, the fluff and buff. Same thing, our purchase price was the $340,000. Instead of our ARV or resale price being $500 like it was in the previous model, again, going back to the affordability of the area, I said, hey, I want our end sales price to be at $420. Our ARV on this, or end sales price, is $420K. Now, with that, our renovation budget was only $30 versus $80. So the repairs, $30,000. Let's not forget to take into account the cost of money and then real estate commissions and closing costs. Now, since we're doing less to the home, we're only putting in $30,000 instead of $80,000, we're able to speed this job up a lot quicker and get it listed and sold on the market. So instead of a 6-month timeline, it was actually a 3-month from start to finish. We'll use this same example, 12% in cost, right? So 340, put down, call it 40 grand. We have a $300,000 loan balance at 1% a month for 3 months, right? 9 grand. It's half of what the other option was. So money costs, instead of 18,000 like previously, it's 9K. And then selling fees, Again, real estate commissions, closing costs, seller concessions. We use 6% on the previous option on the full go. On the fluff and buff, we're going to do the same. We're going to do 6%, but instead it's going to be on 420. I wish I would have used a round number on here, but anyway, we'll just call it 24,000. Okay, now let's start just doing some subtraction here. So 420 less 30, that's 390. So it's 357. 357K on the 340 purchase. Obviously does not look good. It's only 17,000. One thing that made it a little bit different for us on when we were penciling this, we had some cash laying around, so we bought the deal in cash. So we knew, hey, this is a thin deal. Let's buy it in cash. We'll have no finance costs. So basically this 9,000 went out the window and we can add it to this 17,000. So plus 9K, 26K. So what was the previous option? So that's the 26K. Previously we were at 32. And I understand it's a little bit of apples to oranges because we're not using money on one versus the other. However, this to me is a much more attractive option, being that we're in and out quickly, we're doing less work. Our contractors were actually tied up at some other jobs, so us being able to just come in and quickly do carpet, paint, and some landscaping, and we did an appliance pack as well. It was a quick and easy option for us. This is how it was pro forma in the beginning, but we knew, hey, this is a good area. We like the house. We think if we provide an affordable option, hey, maybe a lot of people interested and we get multiple offers on this thing. And that is exactly what happened. So let me show you how the numbers shook out. There's a couple other items where we're able to save a little bit of money. Our cost of money was nothing, like you see here. The repairs were what they were. We listed the property at $420,000. And again, like we were hoping, sparked a bidding war. It was an affordable house in a good area, very livable, somewhat updated, still room for the new owner to make upgrades themselves. This got bid all the way to $470,000. Still, and again, I don't think that would have happened going the full go option because it would have been so much above the high price point in that neighborhood, where here, we're still below a lot of the homes selling in that neighborhood. So this thing went out all the way up to 470. Like I said, we have no money costs, so this was a cash deal. We turned it in 90 days. And then on our selling costs, well, my business partner happens to be a realtor, so he does all of our listings for us when we do resell properties. As you can imagine, we don't pay a lot in fees. That's just some of the economies to scale when you start doing more and more deals and growing this business. But when selling costs, instead of a 6% number, we're usually at more of a 3% number. 3% on 470, even if we call it 500, that's 15,000. So 15K. If we rerun these numbers, we go 470 less 30, it's a 425 net, 425K net, less what we bought it for. And what does that come out to? $85,000. Wow. Woo! And again, we didn't pencil it like that. We hoped it would increase from our original conservative underwrite when we bought the deal. I wouldn't have guessed it would have swelled to this number here. I was thinking, okay, hey, maybe at 420, hey, maybe we can get a bit up, 20 grand or something, but we lucked out. And that's just part of the business. Sometimes you luck out on certain deals, other ones you don't. However, this strategy, in my opinion, is the absolute best strategy you can do in today's market because it gives you that affordable option, and that is exactly what buyers are looking for. I hope that makes sense, guys. If you have any questions, I know I ran through a lot of numbers here. I gave you a lot of ballpark figures. Hopefully my math was correct. Next time, maybe I'll bring a calculator. I don't know. But if you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to answer them. I'm super stoked on this deal. We have multiple of these types of deals going in the pipe where we're just trying to get in and out of them quickly due to market risk and provide an affordable option to the end user and buyer. Subscribe to the channel. I'll walk you through more deals like this. I'll even take you on tours of properties that I'm currently doing. Learn something. Hopefully this helped. See ya.